So in my house, we've entered what we call the end of Little League season. Where I live, April, May, and June, Saturdays are taken up completely with baseball. Many Saturdays we are at the field from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That was true yesterday. We come home dusty and sore, and yesterday super proud because all the teams our kids are on made it through to the championship next week, which is very exciting. Yeah, it's okay. Well, folks in our league can get a bit competitive. It's not a super intense league. It's coached by parents and other members of the community. Sportspersonship is the order of the day. Most of these kids are schoolmates and neighbors. They take theater classes together. They spend their summers running around together. It's not a very intense league. And those of us who coach do it not for the imagined glory of a Little League win, but because we loved it when we were kids. We carry forward a deep knowledge of the value of baseball and team play for learning how to win and lose, for facing the uncertainty of the beginning of a season, for how to work together. And we hold those memories so close that we're willing to give up 1 to 2 nights a week and all day Saturday to ensure that our children carry those same memories forward. Now, I remember my days on the field as a kid, the sound of the cheers and the smell of the grass and the gloves and the crack of the bat and the bitter disappointment of a loss or an error, the glory of a perfect double play and a win that leaves you riding high all afternoon. Looking back at that time in my own life sustains me through the very real challenges of coaching children ages 8 to 12. And every time I hear another coach say, "That bat my kid is using was my bat when I was little," or I hear them reminisce about their time on the field, I know it's not just me who's there for this reason. Someone built those memories for us when we were children, and we coaches are taking our turn. And many of us hope that one day our children will take their turn. This time of year can be a time for looking back, for taking stock, for remembering where we came from, and it can be a time for looking forward, imagining what the long days and heat of summer might bring, imagining what we might build as life calls us on. The children who have grown up in this congregation, some of whom are here today and some of whom you will hear from next Sunday, have benefited from over a century of building and commitment and determination to create a place of growth and safety and welcome and questions. And now these youth represent what is possible. They will go out into the world carving their own path, and they will carry memories and values and beliefs deep within them. Memories that perhaps lead them to try to create the same for the next generation. This is, I think, how we evolve as humans, ideally, each generation better than the next, or better than the last, sorry. That was very funny. Each generation better than the last. Each generation determined to carry forward what was best from their own past. Each generation committed to making life easier and better for those who will come after. Each generation intentionally creating the possibility for future joys and triumphs and proud moments. Ideally, that's how it works, right? We rest easier knowing that we have given something of worth, something of ourselves to the children and youth who we have raised or who have been raised in our communities. And it is also true that no matter what foundations we lay, there are paths and bridges that will remain dangerous, some even impassable. The path isn't always clear, it is not always given. This past week, we found ourselves blanketed in smoke. The sky was an eerie orange. The instruction to stay home came alive again, dredging up memories of COVID and deeper ones for some of us of 9/11. The skies had the feeling of something otherworldly, scary, unknown, even though we knew what was happening, right? And we know that our meteorologists can predict when it's going to clear. Our science is good enough to know, and still, at least for me, it brought a deep sense of unease. There were a couple of days when we couldn't see past the side barricade of a bridge we were crossing, couldn't see what lay ahead, and it was frightening, and also a reminder of the nature of our human living. even in times that are not apocalyptically orange, even in average, normal, everyday times, we don't know what the future is going to hold. We don't know for sure what the path ahead will be. We can try and imagine and predict, but it remains unknown to us. And what we are left with is doing the very best we can, building whatever we are able, acting in each moment in accordance with our values and our deeply held beliefs. And I want to briefly share with you on this day of our annual meeting just a couple of my own currently deeply held beliefs. I believe that the value of religious community, of intentional, meaning-making community, is not in doubt and never will be. That as long as people live with change and uncertainty, with joy and sorrow, with growth and transformation, the needs filled by this kind of community for people of all ages is not up for debate. And in this moment, I believe that the future of intentional meaning-making community isn't totally clear. Again, the need is there, it always will be, but how that need will be filled, that to me and most of my colleagues is currently an open question. The old world of Sunday mornings being sacrosanct with nothing else scheduled, and of folks automatically wanting to belong to such a place, of everyone tithing and volunteering on nights and weekends, of children growing up with a congregation as a second home, it's not a given anymore. That old world has probably been fading since before I was born, in truth. And it's not abundantly clear what comes in its place, what congregational life looks like in our world now. Across the UUA and here at USR, we have made changes, we keep making changes, looking for ways to deepen who we are as a community and to hold tight to what matters most as we reshape certain aspects of congregational life. And I do realize I am preaching to the choir, because you are here, right? You are folks who grasp the value, the need, the promise, and hope of such a community. You are folks who understand that we need to retain the heart of who we are and what we do, even as we look at the world as it is and try to meet the world where it is. You understand that even when the future is unclear, we stick together, solid in our values, cultivating boldness and hope to move down that path and cross those bridges. Always not just longing for, but actively working for a better future. It isn't clear what religious education will come to look like, or what Sunday mornings or congregational life during the week will look like. It isn't clear what funding structures and governance models and sharing resources with other congregations will come to look like. But what is clear, say this with confidence, what is clear is that the central mission of journeying with one another, growing together, raising our children together, changing the world as best we can, becoming the best version of ourselves in a difficult world, it is clear to me that that central mission doesn't change. The form may, but the content and function will not. In the future, religious life, intentional meaning-making community will remain vital and life-saving. And what helps us get to that future, I think, is remembering. Remembering what we have carried forward of value from the past. What helps us get to that future is imagining the path before us, the known and the unknown, the familiar and the and overcoming the fear. What helps us get to that future is making the next move toward whatever it is that comes next. Bold and courageous, willing to make mistakes, willing to lose, seeking the proud and joyful moments, and knowing that the challenges along the way are going to help us grow. So I don't know what the future holds exactly, not for any of us as individuals, not for congregational life, but I do know that what we do matters and our lives matter, and that we are called to find a way along our individual and collective path that is sustainable, drawing from our history and facing our future bravely. And I am just very glad to be on that path with you as we continue our work.